Hey everyone, my name is Jace. I'm a community manager at Coffee Stain Studios, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the upcoming engine upgrade update. And it was going to come out next week, but it's been pushed back a week or two. So we'll see. I'll let you know close to the date when it's going to be coming out and all that stuff. But I want to talk about it now anyway, because one, I already wrote the script. I got everything prepared. But also two, the other point of this video was I wanted to explain what an engine upgrade is and what why we do it and what you can expect from this engine upgrade. Hopefully it will give you a better idea of what you can expect from engine upgrades in general from games. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So this talk will be a little bit on the technical side, I think. So some people who aren't into game dev or Unreal Engine 4 specifically might not understand everything that's going on, but I will wrap everything up into, well, what's the outcome going to be? What will you experience as a gamer, as a player of Satisfactory? So it'll hopefully still make sense. Why do we upgrade the engine? Well, if you look at these patch notes, that's a lot of patch notes. I'd hate to be the person who writes them. I'm sure they've got some means of automating it, but still, there's proofreading, I don't know, a nightmare. That's a lot, right? And this is just one update. And we are updating from 4.22.3 up to 4.25. So we are going up 3 versions of the engine. So take what you just saw and multiply that by 3, and that's how many changes have happened in within this gap that we're taking. Now, this is a little scary because things change. Sometimes you have to go in and make a lot of changes to the code yourself to make it compatible with the with how they want things done in the new version of the engine. We also modify the engine ourselves to make Satisfactory, so we have to see if our modifications are compatible with their modifications as well. So then that takes a lot of testing, and hopefully everything will work. And then when it goes to experimental, you guys will let us know if it doesn't. Yeah, engine upgrades are a big deal. They're a really big task. They're scary. And we got to do it because, first of all, sometimes the engine upgrades give us some new tools that make things easier for us to work. New tools that make things look or work better. So you could get things that look better or, you know, better performance. Sometimes the performance is just free. The engine is just better now, and now the game's quicker. Sometimes they give us access to certain things, or they've changed the way that they do things, that if we are able to take advantage of that in our game, we will get those performances too. Now, this is a misconception with engines, and a good example is Unreal Engine 5, is that when there's a new feature in an engine, that doesn't mean you can use it automatically, especially if you've got an existing game that's been running on things before. It doesn't necessarily mean you can utilize it. And even if they say it just works, it doesn't just work. So like there's big new things like in Unreal Engine 5, was it like Lumen or something like that? Or
Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry.
if we upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, we don't just get that, you know, like you have to support it. And that takes a lot of work, especially when you've been working on a game that works a specific way for so long. So we still have to go through those patch notes and see what can we take advantage of. And we were able to take advantage of a lot of things and gain some performance upgrades from that. So today I'm going to talk to you about a few of those things, just a couple things, not everything that we get from this upgrade, but just some of them, and in what way that will impact you as a player of Satisfactory. So the first thing that I want to talk about is packet reordering. So that's been added to the engine now. And what does it mean? Well, by packet, they're referring to network packages. So you guys have probably heard of a thing called packet loss, which is when your little packets of data get sent to your friend and they don't make it, or they're discarded for one reason or another. So packet reordering, what that helps do is reduce the amount of packets that are lost. So if, and in this case, it's if multiple packets arrive out of order within the same frame, they can now reorder the packet so that it makes sense, so they don't have to discard it. Whereas typically when packets arrive out of order, the engine won't know what to do with those packets, so it discards it and just like says, can you send it again, please? Yeah, so this is going to help a lot with multiplayer performance, essentially. So that's like a free win we get there. Yay! Yeah, so the next thing is improved input-output speeds. So this means, yeah, basically just quicker loading, saving, streaming, things like that. So hopefully autosave hitches will be less severe. Hopefully hitches that you get as you navigate around the world, as the game loads in new tiles or whatever. Hopefully that kind of stuff should be, you should get a performance upgrade there. So Cool. Next thing is a pretty technical one. It's for those of who know Unreal Engine 4, this will make some sense, I guess. But I'll also talk about the implications of what that means for everyone. And that is U property has been refactored to F property. What this means is everything that was tagged as U properties before came with the overhead of being an object when maybe it didn't need to be. So this essentially means that things that were U properties before will be smaller because it contains less information. They won't necessarily be considered an object, and they won't be counted to the object list, meaning iterating over objects as the game plays or whatever. And this also means if there's less objects, that means the build limit that people have run into, which is it's not a build limit, but it's an object limit. The object limit doesn't change, but the number of objects in the game will reduce, meaning you can build more. So essentially what this means is we will go through and do the refactor, and that means you can build more objects and an overall performance improvement. Now this next one's really cool, and I've tried to explain this and it's super hard to explain, so I'm going to do my best. I hope everyone can understand it. And this is per instance custom data, and I think this is amazing. First of all, the first thing you need to know is what an instance is. And an instance is just a copy. So if you build 2 constructors, you have 2 instances of a constructor, right? So they're just copies. And where the big win is here is on the rendering side of things. Renderers are really good at doing the same thing over and over without interruption or switching tasks. So what you want to do is when you have all your constructors built, for example, you want them all to be instances, or you want them to be considered instances by your renderer, so that it will take constructor data, what it needs to draw a constructor, and then it'll draw one, and then it'll go, there's another one, it's the same thing, all right? It goes all DJ Khaled on our ass, all right? It's like, there's another one, it's a constructor, I already have that data, we'll draw it, and then just draw all the constructors, then throw that away, and then move on to the next task. What you don't want is for it to see 2 different constructors and think that they're different things, therefore treating them as different tasks, therefore requesting the same data over and over again. Now this can happen when, let's say, you paint them a different color with the color gun. The way we added the color gun into the game is we had a separate material on each unique object for every color in the color gun. So there are 16 colors in the color gun. Every single unique object, every different kind of wall, foundation, had 16 materials on it, 1 for each slot of the color gun, so that when you paint it, it will use the appropriate material that you had selected in your color gun. Now, to you and me, we still see the constructors as instances. They're still copies. They're the same thing. They just look a little different. The renderer sees 2 constructors with different materials on, therefore different objects. So it won't draw them one after the other. It will separate them into tasks. Now that we can use per instance custom data or primitive data on each constructor, if we keep going with this example, it means we can just put 1 material on every constructor and have the renderer look at that data, that custom data on each instance as it draws them, and put it into the material and then draw. So basically, it means we can draw all the constructors without being interrupted, and then move on to the next thing and draw all of those without being interrupted, even if you use different colors between them. This also adds another really big thing that isn't going to be in this upgrade, but will come in the future. And that is, we had a 16 color palette on the color gun before, because that was just a limitation we imposed on ourselves. But if we only need to use 1 material per object, and the custom data is on the object, then that data could just be a color. It could be any color. And that means you could have infinite colors. So this one thing gives us a massive performance increase, and it's going to allow us to expand upon the color gun. Now, some of you might think, well, but I like presets. Presets are really cool because sometimes it makes it easy to change the color scheme of my factory. The preset functionality will remain. We'll keep that. But we will also add in the future the ability to add, any color, any number of colors to your factory. I think that's going to be really cool. So I hope that made sense. I really hope I did it right. I haven't been a programmer for a while, so if I messed up my explanation, don't go too hard on me. All right? I did my best. I make shitty YouTube videos now, all right? Leave me alone. They've added a better gloss shader. So we can make, basically it's just a more performant gloss shader. So For those of you out there who have glass buildings, you're gonna have it's gonna perform better for you moving forward. Yeah, that's nice. Now I don't know if that's gonna actually be in when the update comes out, but if it doesn't, it will be added after at some point.
The next thing is screen space global illumination.
So that's going to be, there's like a beta version of that in the engine now. So we're going to be experimenting with that. Essentially, it's just going to affect the lighting of the game. So we'll see. Do we like what it does? And then can we afford to actually have it in the game? And so this is something that happens with updates is with engine upgrades is sometimes there are things that we just need to experiment with. They sound cool. We need to see, you know, is it something that we want to have? If yes, can we afford to have it? Like, is it expensive? Like, is it really heavy to use or whatever? You know, we have to experiment with some of these things. So one of the things that we want to add is, there's also another thing that's been introduced. It's this like weird atmosphere thing. It's a new system that's been introduced by Epic, which gives a better way to render atmosphere. So this will affect lighting. So some of you like to build really high up. This kind of thing might change the way that the lighting reacts as you go further up in the world, further up into the atmosphere. So yeah, it'll sort of just emulate an atmosphere a little bit better. This might also alleviate some of the issues with fog that people are having as well, if we are able to do that. So this is something that I think we're gonna get it in to some degree, but we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll see what it does and if it's useful or not, but I don't think it'll be in this update. Anyway, so that's a lot of talking. I hope that was interesting. I hope it made sense. Please let me know if it did or if it didn't. So you can look forward to the update in a couple of weeks. One thing I want to say is don't forget about our streams.
Oh no.
At twitch.tv/Coffee Studios Devs. Last week, this Tuesday that just went by, we had a special guest. It was Let's Game It Out, the guy who makes offensively bad factories. He is every game developer's worst nightmare. He's YouTube him, please. It's scary, and it was a pleasure to have him on the stream. And next week we're gonna have another special guest who's gonna be an employee at Coffee Stain who is leaving Coffee Stain. But I really want him to jump on stream, and I really want you guys to meet him because he has never wanted to be in front of a camera or public facing at all ever, but he has been there by my side doing the community things since, you know, almost day one. And all of the cool things that happen, all of the amazing moments that we had in this community, he was there involved in every single one. So if you've had a good time in the Satisfactory community, I ask, please come along on Tuesday and say a hello and thank you to this person. So see you then, hopefully. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Social media, bye.